clap of thunder in the middle of a boat in the middle of the ocean, I woke up with a start this morning of January 4th, 2024, by the sudden silence that reigned in our hotel room in Solna in Stockholm, Sweden. The usual snoring of the nonagenarian prelate, whose personal assistant I was missing from the atmosphere. I had dozed off for a while I was following with great concern the mysterious conversations that Monsignor KPODZRO had with his invisible visitors. The day before, a priest friend and beloved child of the venerable old man, who was one of the privileged ones to have spoken with him at the beginning of the year, and to whom I had confided about the mysterious and invisible visits, who had taken the habit of coming to have conversations with him, had advised me to make my practical arrangements with a view to recording the said conversations as they happened. But alas, the events were beyond human understanding. I was prevented by supernatural forces that paralyzed me and prevented me from taking my camera to immortalize the events that were mystically unfolding before my eyes. I had goosebumps and was as if paralyzed. So I had not been able to record a single one of these conversations. Monsignor continued to make his own introduction to his visitors, who sometimes made him laugh until his ribs broke. It was during one of his bursts of laughter that I had gathered my courage to wake him up and ask him about the object of his good humor. It was then that he answered me that, "It's this guy over there who makes me laugh." It was my turn to ask him who this guy was. He answered me in a loud and clear voice that it was the Christ. I had immediately fallen silent and continued to reflect internally on the course of events. Before going to bed completely at my insistence, he was sitting on the bed, clinging to his rosary, but still dozing. I was afraid that he would suddenly fall and smash his skull. To my insistence to go to bed, he responded with his intention of finishing the entire decade of the rosary. It was therefore around 4 o'clock in the morning that I managed to make him go to bed for good. His behavior was as if he knew that he was going to leave us, and that he wanted to stay awake until the fateful hour. So waking me up with a start around 11 o'clock, after having spoken with my older brother from Lome an hour earlier, he who was getting up to date with the evolution of the situation every day, I had jumped out of bed and leaned over him to see if he still had any signs of life. Still seeing nothing that could reassure me, I had grabbed him by the hand and then let him fall on the bed. Still no sign of life. As his back was to me on his bed, since we had twin beds, I had gone around the bed to see him face to face. That was when I realized the seriousness of the situation. My heart had made a quarter turn in my chest, and I had started by calling him loudly while shaking him, but alas, it was a waste of time. So, with a heavy heart, I had decided to call for medical help. They arrived within minutes and set to work, asking me to leave the room. The police arrived a few minutes later, then the firefighters. About 30 minutes later, I was called to tell me the tragic news of the call to God of the one who was my boss, my baby and only companion. The medical examiners arrived much later to draw up the usual reports. But surprisingly, the 2 medical examiners had mysteriously noted that his pulse was still beating and that his whole body was covered in sweat. The 2 exchanged a knowing wink, then finished their work and left, telling me that the undertakers would come and collect the body. I was lost. To the police, I had declared that this death was not natural and that an autopsy had to be done. Request accepted. The autopsy will take place later, but so far, no news about the results. Saint Philippe Fanoko Kossi KPODZRO. Pray for us poor sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Certains disent que Dieu est devenu aveugle, mais c'est avec nos yeux qu'il peut voir aujourd'hui, qu'il peut voir aujourd'hui. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et allumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et allumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Certains disent que Dieu est devenu muet, mais c'est avec nos voix qu'il s'exprime aujourd'hui, qu'il s'exprime aujourd'hui. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Certains disent que Dieu est devenu manchot, mais c'est avec nos mains qu'il construit aujourd'hui, qu'il construit aujourd'hui. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre bougie. Chacun de nous est une chance, là où il est, là où il vit. Certains disent que Dieu est devenu absent, c'est avec notre cœur qu'il redonne la vie, qu'il redonne la vie. Cueillons les fleurs de l'espérance et rallumons notre